Hello, this is Mrs. Lehman from Math with Mrs. Lehman. I know you've been anxiously awaiting the next video since it's been over a week. But we are back from February break, so welcome. I'm here with my third period class.
Hi.
The enthusiasm levels are off the charts this morning. Everybody's super pumped to be back to school.
Well, I think something question.
Elijah, don't correct me. Okay. There was only a hint of sarcasm there. All right. The product of a number n and 25. How would I write that? Ethan.
Wrote it n plus 25.
Product does not mean you add. What does product mean? Would you like to change your answer?
N times 25.
Okay, so this is one way to write it, n times 25, but there's a little more advanced way. Can anyone tell me what the most advanced way to write that is? The way you'll typically see it in any algebra class.
25n.
Very good, thank you, Kyle. So 25n, what do we call that 25 in front of the n? Jada, nice and loud. Very good, that was me being loud, but thank you. She said the coefficient. All right, the number of cookies C shared equally among 5 people. Shared equally means we do what operation?
Divide.
Very good. So what would that look like?
C over 5.
Very good. I like that you did that as a fraction. C over 5. Some people probably wrote it like this, but this way right here is the more typical, more advanced way of writing that. Okay? Any questions? Who here had both of those correct? Very good. All right, we are moving on. Today we are going to solve equations. So if you could go to page 60 in your module book. All right, we are doing lesson 26 in module 4, one-step equations, addition and subtraction. So our objective for today is to solve addition and subtraction equations. So one thing I want to point out before we get too far into this is the difference between an expression and an equation. Does anyone know what the difference is? Yes?
An expression is a equation without an equal sign.
Perfect, yes. So b plus 9 is an expression. But down here, b plus 9 equals 15 is an equation because it has an equal sign. In this first example here that I gave, b plus 9, b could equal anything, right? We could have b equal any number. If we were told what b was equal to, then we could evaluate it for that particular value of b. When we're looking down here at exercise 1, b plus 9 equals 15, there's only one value of b. There's only one value when it's an equation. So, can anyone tell me what b must equal? Ethan? 6, very good. So these problems don't really require a ton of math, but it requires some steps. So this lesson is mostly about following the steps because as you get to more difficult equations and as you progress in math, you're going to want to default to these steps, even though you can look at a problem like this and go, oh, b equals 6, okay? So the first step that you're going to want to do when you're solving an equation is, well, first of all, our goal is to isolate the variable. So let's write that down. Isolate the variable. Does anyone know what the word isolate means? Haven't heard from William yet.
To like leave alone.
You want to get it by itself. Yeah, we want to get that variable alone. Okay? So in order to do that, we need to do the inverse operation. So let's write isolate the variable by performing did I spell that right? I'm having a moment. Oh wow, it's been a long break. The spelling glitch brought to you by February break. All right. Performance. By performing Oy, oy, oy. I isolate the variable by performing the inverse operation. Right. So, what is the inverse operation of addition? What's the inverse of addition, Elijah?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. What's the inverse of subtraction?
Addition.
Addition. What's the inverse of multiplication? Multiplication.
Division.
The inverse of division is?
Multiplication.
Any questions? All right, so first step when you're solving these is to draw an upside down t-chart like this, right under the equal sign, right? An equation is a perfectly balanced thing. One side has to equal the other side. So we can manipulate this equation any way we want to, as long as we're doing the same thing to both sides, right? Then we haven't upset the value or the fact that they're equal. So we want this like a perfectly leveled teeter-totter, all right? If we do something to one side, we have to do it to the other side because we don't want it to turn into an inequality. So what we see is our variable b plus 9 equaling 15. So we want to get rid of the plus 9. So we're going to do the inverse, which is what? Very good. So we did it to one side. We have to do it to the other side as well. All right. So if we had 9 and then we subtracted 9, what would we be left with? William? Well, we're going to write b, right? And then equals, bring down your equal sign each time. And then 15 minus 9, William said, is 6. So b equals 6. We're going to draw a box around this, right? Now this next step you're going to find silly, I'm sure, and most kids are going to try to say, I don't need to do this, but we are going to do it whether you like it or not. All right, so we're doing what we call a check. All right, so when we do our check, we're going to rewrite our initial problem, b plus 9 equals 15, and then we're going to plug in what we determined the value of b to be. All right, so in this case, we said b is 6, so we're going to plug in 6. 6 plus 9 equals 15. You're not solving anything yet. All right, now at this point, you're going to essentially just focus on the 6 plus 9. 6 plus 9 is what? 15. Yep, so when we plugged in what we got for a value for b, 6, we add it to the 9, we get 15. We were supposed to get 15, so it checks out. Okay? So this is the point where, you know, let's say you accidentally added 9 to each side and you got 24, and then you went in to plug that in, you said, say 24 plus 9 equals 15, and your brain would go, that doesn't sound right. I messed up, and you go back and then fix it. Okay? So let's do the next one. If we scroll down to 12 equals 8 plus c. Now, a lot of kids get thrown off by the fact that it's not in the same order, you know. Doesn't matter. It's an equation, right? And we also know that a certain property of addition says that we can add in any order. Does anyone know what that property is? There's going to be some people who need to study for their test. That won't be very far away. Probably next week, early next week. Very good, Tim. Commutative. So, we're going to do the same steps. We just have to recognize, ooh, the c's on the other side now. All right, we have c plus 8. We want to get c by itself. We want to isolate it. How do I get c by itself? Jaden, yell it to me. That was a weak yell, Jaden. I'm disappointed. All right, subtract 8. There are classes, if I said yell, they would all be screaming, but this class, like, subtract 8. All right, so subtract 8 from both sides. All right, now we have, on this right side, we have 8, but we subtracted 8, so we're just going to have c left. So c equals, what's 12 minus 8, everybody?
4.
4. Tough math, I'm telling you. All right, we're going to box in our answer. Let's check it out. All right, first step of our check is to rewrite our initial equation, which was 12 equals 8 plus c, and 12 equals 8. We said c was what? 4. All right, so 8 plus 4. 12. Yep, so it does check out to what it was supposed to be. So we must have done something correctly, unlike my spelling. Yes.
I did these two in my head just to see if I would get them.
Mm-hmm.
I had subtracted 9 from 15. I had added 9 till I got to 15. Well, I added till I got to 15 from 9, and then I did the same for 8.
Yep, very good. So a lot of these that we start off with are pretty easy. So you really just need to focus on getting the steps correct and having them written neatly. All right. So let's move on to the next page and practice a little bit more. We are not going to do the tape diagrams. So just ignore that. It says, given the equation d minus 5 equals 7. So we have d minus 5 equals 7, right? First step, draw what? T-chart upside down. That's good. All right, so we have minus 5, right? D minus 5. So instead of minus 5, we want to add 5, yep. All right, plus 5. Do it to both sides because that's fair. That's going to negate that subtracting of 5 on the left-hand side. So what are we left with on the left-hand side here? Well, just D equals what's 7 plus 5? 12. Very good. All right, so we're going to box that in. We're going to do our check. All right, first step of our check is to do what? Say it nice and loud, Jasmine.
Write the original equation.
Very good. Write the original equation. D minus 5 equals 7. All right, next step of my check is to do what? William?
Plug in what you found out.
Very good. Plug in your answer. So 12 minus 5 equals 7. What's 12 minus 5, everybody?
7.
7, so we did that correctly. All right, I'm going to do a lot of setting the children loose on some of these examples. If you guys could go to the next page. What I'm going to do is have you guys work on them. Raise your hand when you have it figured out. I will check it, and then I'll have you move on to the next one, okay? So before you raise your hand, I want you to make sure you've checked it and all of the steps are shown, all right? So I'm going to pause this video. I'll be back in a sec. I'm back. I know you were waiting a long time. All right, so the kids are working on the next set of problems, so I'm going to run through these real quick. So we're going to subtract 12 from each side. You're going to get E equals 8. All right, the check will look like this. E plus 12 equals 20. 8 plus 12 is indeed 20, so that checks out. All right, the next one, F minus 10 equals 15. Again, upside down T-chart, you're going to add 10 to each side, do the inverse operation. So you're going to get F equals 25. All right, your check should look like this. F minus 10 equals 15. 25 minus 10 equals 15. And that is 15. 15 equals 15, and that checks out. And the last example on this page, G minus 8 equals 9. So again, right under that equal sign for the upside down T-chart, you're going to do the inverse of subtracting 8, which is adding 8. You're going to do it to both sides because it's an equation. That's going to negate this. G equals 17. Check to be sure. G minus 8 equals 9. 17 minus 8 equals 9. And 9 equals 9, and that checks out. All right, so the kids are working on this next set of examples right now without using tape diagrams. Wait, am I on the wrong page? I don't know. They're working on the next set. Please hold and I'll go over those with you. Okay, so I have some kids checking the other kids' work. Wah! So I can be up here doing my YouTube video. Just kidding. They're all back in their seats. All right, M minus 7 equals 17. So we're going to add 7 to each side. So M equals 24. All right, your check looks like this. M minus 7 equals 17. 24 minus 7 equals 17. 24 minus 7 is 17. That equals 17. So we are good there. The next one, n plus 14 equals 25. We're going to subtract 14 from each side, isolate that variable. We're going to be left with just n. 25 minus 14 is 11. So again, your check, which seems redundant right now, is for when people make silly mistakes and then they are like, wait, that does not work. I'm sure that's what they say. No, they just say, oh, that's good, and hand it in. All right, the next one. You're going to subtract 8. Subtract 8, you're going to get p equals 10. I am going to let you guys do the check on your own. And then on this one, instead of subtracting 62, we are going to add 62. Add 62. So you get g equals 76. All right, again, you're doing whatever is being done with that variable, you're undoing that. So look for the side with the variable and look at a way to unwind that, okay? Any questions on this? How are we feeling about it? 5, you totally get it. 4, I need more practice. 3, what's an equation? 2, I don't know how to substitute for a variable. 1, I'm lost. 0, I have no idea what my name is right now. All right, looks like we have some confident children, so I'm going to get them started on their homework. Thank you for watching Math with Mrs. Lehman. Have a great day and welcome back. Thank you from my third period class. Bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.